Thursday, I never remember the date. Thursday, the 4th of December. Hope we're all doing extremely well. Yeah, this is the second show of 4 today, so you are going to get sick of me if you're not sick of me already. So today, yeah, we're going to get through it today. Now this is a bonus show really, and one I really wanted to go through today. So this was the show that I started yesterday, and YouTube wasn't the best of friends to me yesterday, so I just wanted just to go over this show because I thought it was really important to sort of go over this show again today. YouTube is again not being the best to me because I don't actually think that chats are on right now. I don't know what goes on with this. It is honestly, YouTube is not the best. So hopefully there are chats on. I don't actually know. So there is no chats right now. I don't know what is going on. I actually can't see any chats right now. Let me see if I can sort this out. Honestly, I genuinely don't know what goes on with this. Live chat. Here we go. Live chat is on. Here we go. The live chat is on, so I can see you on this screen. I can't see you on that screen. That is the beauty of YouTube. So I'm just going to move this screen around. So today, look, what I'll always say is this is the best community on this platform, in my humble opinion. Danny is back on. This is Danny's second stream of the day. Legend Danny of the channel. The chat is now on. It is. I can't see it on this, but I can see it on there. So I've got the screen back. Honestly, YouTube has got a mind of its own, and it is not the best at times. So look, second show of the day. Thank you for getting into the chat. Grace, a legend of the chat as well. So I did start the show off, as I say. Please get into the chat. Be respectful to the chat. Get into this. Be respectful to them. They'll be respectful to you. We've been linked with LB from Germany. Interesting. I'm going to go through this today, Scott. Yeah, we will. I'm not going to hold back today. So look, let's just get into this. Second thing to say is I'm not a dictator of this chat. I do really read out your comments because it's really important to me that everybody has their say. So yeah, get into it. If I do come back on your comments, it's not because I'm coming back on the comment. It's not because I'm disrespecting the comment. This is more about having a debate. So let's get into this today. So my thumbnail on this today. Look, this is not a clickbait thumbnail. This is not clickbait. So a couple of days ago now, The Athletic reported something interesting in regards to what I was saying, in regards to what I think is going to happen. So this is your chance to get your opinion in on the Glazers. This is your chance to get your opinion in as to what you might think that we're going to do in this window. I'm of the opinion that we're not going to probably do a lot in this window. So I think it's really important that you guys give me your opinion on this. I do want to know, so I'm going to be coughing away. I don't know why. I genuinely think the five-a-side last night. Joel is my daddy. Honestly, I'm going to keep coughing. I think the five-a-side last night, even though I run a lot, the five-a-side last night has absolutely smashed me over. Right. Yeah, like sprinting around for an hour is not good when you get to my age. It really isn't. Yeah, and what I forgot to say, Danny says they will come up with excuses. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. The only thing I'm going to say, by the way, is last night my team did win like 16-5 or 16-6. And as we talk about on here, the pivot is important, unlike the pivot that we're going to see tonight. So we'll get into that game. Danny says, look at what Bowley done at Chelsea first window, and this is what I want to get into. So Grace says, how many more left backs do we need? What was the point in buying Dorgu? Lyon should have bought an experienced left back and Amas as backup. Great, I agree with that. I think Amas, for me, has gone on loan, and I think it's the best thing for him. I think he's gone to play in the Championship. Now, the Championship, in my opinion, if you want to learn, I think is an absolute fantastic opportunity for Amas to go and learn. So look, I'm not adverse to Ahmad going on loan. I think it was the best thing for him, and I think it will be the best thing for us in the long term. So look, I do agree with that. Michael says, right side will be a test during the AFCON. Mbeumo, Ahmad and Mazraoui all gone. Would be good to see Shea Lacy. I agree with you, Michael. I really, really do agree with you. I think some of these younger players coming in to give themselves an opportunity, I think you're spot on. Michael, I really think you do, my friend. I think you are spot on. No, I think if Amron's going to use the youth, why not use the youth now? I really agree with that statement. I think Lacy, what's the point in having people like a Lacy if you're not going to use them, right? So let me get into some of these comments as well. Obviously, how many more left backs do we need? What did Bowley do? I agree. Robinson at Chelsea, at Fulham, El Nori. And Nori would have been perfect with Cunha on that side. We need a replacement left back for sure. Get Bobby from Frankfurt. And guys, I love these suggestions, right? And again, I think get in your suggestions, because I really think it's important that we talk about this stuff, right? Because namely, we are suggesting names, right? If we are suggesting names on here, and you guys are suggesting people that we sign, right? MU today winner. When we making a Discord for the channel? When I get a chance. Yeah, I will look at that, Grace. I do think we need all that sort of stuff. I'm probably am going to do. I'll go and snap Luke Shaw myself, make sure he never plays again. Yeah, I do have plans for the channel. I don't do Discord. I'm going to do a couple of bits and pieces, but it is just time. I do work full time as well, and I've got to set all this stuff up. But look, I do plan to do some stuff. So look, let's get into the people that you would sign first, because I think it's really important that we have an acknowledgement on here and give you guys an opportunity as to the players that you guys would sign. Because if we talk about these players that we would sign, and let's just imagine they go to other clubs and they go elsewhere, they do fantastically well, and we've spoken about them on here for a number of times. It means that we are getting our opinion across, and in my opinion, it just goes to highlight how inept INEOS potentially could be. So let's talk about this. So the Athletic, this has come out from the know. I think what we need to bear in mind. Danny says, I think we need a high work rate left winger that can play wing back, similar to how Young and Valencia transitioned to that position towards the end of their careers. And from what I've seen today, whether it's true in Believer, term agreed. I do hope there is some truth in that. Whatever we think of Believer, where would you play? Where would Lacy play? So I think Lacy again. I think Lacy is more of an attacking, but I'd play Lacy at 8. I'd give Lacy a go at 8. And Grace, I think you're right. I do think Lacy. I do think you're right. I do think Lacy is an 8 or 10. Sorry, a 10 or winger. But actually, would it be any harm right now in putting Lacy as more ball carrying 10? Sorry, as a ball carrying 8. We are overstocked. We're overstocked on 10s. Would it be a harm? Would it be a harm to try Lacy as an 8? Lacy's young. He's going to have the legs. Could he do that box to box role? I think he'd be very, very enthusiastic. Obviously, if Mainoo right now, I think would suit the 8 position, but maybe Lacy's been brought into the side because with Mason Mount injured again potentially, with AFCON, maybe Lacy's come into the side to play an 8. Square says in the double pivot. Now, what look, when I say play Lacy in the pivot, right? I'm thinking about youth here. I'm thinking about pace. I'm thinking about people who can carry the ball. A box to box player. I think Lacy would have that. Would he be too attacking as an 8? I think with these young players and knowing what Amorim will do with these players, would Amorim try him as an 8? Would I put Lacy in as an 8? No, I'd have him as a wide 10 or a 10. But Amorim, I don't know what he would do. I think Amorim would trial him as an 8. I really do. If you're putting Kobe Mainoo as an 8, when I think Kobe Mainoo is more of a 10, and Amorim sees Kobe Mainoo as more of an 8, or that's what he's suggesting to the fan base, why wouldn't Amorim put a Lacy at 8? I mean, I would agree with you. I think if you're going to play that 8, you need to be a physical box, a box to box 8. I think, as we've spoken about before, in this pivot, he wants 2. Again, Amorim doesn't want a number 6 and a number 8. He wants 2 midfielders who are going to run up and down all day. Is Lacy that? Probably not. He wants somebody physical. Somebody more experienced in that 8 position. But the sad thing is that we don't know what Amorim will do from the game to game. So, so he is more of a winger. I think Lacy. I think Lacy is more of a. I think Lacy is more that Mainoo sort of mold. Is he a 10? Is he a wide player? I think Lacy is definitely more of an attacking player. Let's see what let's have a little look to see what that United think of Shay Lacy, because I think it'd be really, really interesting as to what United think of Shay Lacy. So I think we've got some preconceived ideas. Okay, Shay Lacy. Shay Lacy. He is described positionally wise as a winger midfield type. So to me, that reads as a number 10, as a winger sort of player. He's 5'6". He's 18. So probably means to me he's definitely more that. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. So Lacy, in my view, is going to be more that Ahmad. Now, could you argue that Shay Lacy could be a wing back? I think it's really, really difficult to understand right now what these players are. Now, Lacy is 18, 5'6", undescribed as a winger a midfielder. I'll let you guys talk about that. Scott says we've been linked to Mateta as well. Thank you, Danny. 5'6", so the same height as JB then. I'm 5'10", so no, I'm not the biggest in the world, but I am 5'10". So you know, it doesn't make me the biggest. Doesn't make me. I am average in pretty much most ways, other than you guys know about the third leg. But yeah, you know, if I had normal size legs, I'd probably be about 6 foot. I've got little short legs. Drinking mushy peas will make you grow. Average height for a woman then. Thanks, Grace. Thanks, Grace. Yeah. So Barcelona. Oh, okay. So Barcelona want to go for Gabriel. Interesting. Average height for a woman. I mean, there's no woman that I know that's 5'10" in terms of the people that sort of like I know. Grace says I'm 5'1". Well, you know, I'm 9 inches bigger than you. Then, you know, just signed a deal in the last 2 summers. Mentata would work as a wing back. We've been linked with Mateta. Johnny Hill says, I think Gabriel will see Amorim's treatment of Manu and won't want any part of that. Drinking mushy peas will make you. Yeah, so this is a matcha tea, drink. I know, like it looks gross, but it actually tastes really good. So look. And again, guys, this is what I wanted to start off this conversation, right? Because I wanted you guys. It's a matcha green tea, vanilla thing with mushrooms in it and all sorts of stuff. It tastes nice. It looks green and it looks gross, but it actually is really nice. It keeps the immune system up. You know, when you get to a certain age, you sort of need all the help that you can get, right? So, you know, yeah, I do need all the help that I can get. And this is what I wanted to start this show off, actually, is because I need some mushrooms right now. It depends on the mushrooms that you need, right? Did you see Amorim embargo presser? I did. I did see it. You know, look, Amorim for me right now is starting to. I like him. I do like him, but I'm becoming very not annoyed, but I'm becoming very bored of Amorim. You know, I appreciate that Amorim he answers so many questions, and the conferences are like 2 or 3, like 2 a week now. But I'm becoming very bored of the generic answers. I'm becoming very bored of Amorim calling out certain players. You know, Amorim will call out the young players. I almost feel, his comments on Manu and Xerxes really peed me off the other week before Everton. He said Manu deserves to play, and they were saying the opposite. I think at this point he's just lying, and I agree with you. You know, just as I was about to say that, you know, he calls out these. And Grace as well. You know, this is exactly what I'm just about to say, right? So he calls out these young players, right? He calls out Manu. You know, he call out Xerxes. He calls out Yoro as well, right? You know, saying that they make mistakes, they're ready, they're not ready, right? The problem in this team, as far as I'm concerned right now, are the senior players. If you're happy to call out your youth players, have the bollocks, have the balls to call out your senior team. You know, if you're prepared to use players' names, so if you're prepared to use players' names. So if you're prepared to use a youth player's name, because you know that they're not going to kick up a stink, you know that they're not going to come banging on your door and go, why are you calling me out for, boss? The reason why he doesn't call out the rest of the shit in this team is because Amorim knows he needs them on side. You know, how can you call out your leadership team? You know, you need to be calling out a Luke Shaw. You need to be calling out, you know, a Delict. I'm not saying that he's playing badly, but there's this definite that he favours players, and that's one of the things for me that I cannot abide. Now, I will support this manager. You know, I think I am manager in, but there are certain characteristics for me right now that even though I am still the manager in, and I use that term, the manager in, because I think we need to do something different in this club. But I don't agree with everything that he says. You know, I don't agree with throwing players under the bus. You know, they are, you know, and we can hark back to this, but Fergie, I think, does extremely well. And I do think other coaches do this well, is that you can, and I do think that Amorim did this well when he first came into the club, was Amorim had this knack of, you know, talking about players without talking to these players. The moment you start to name drop, you then have to be consistent with that. You know, we've seen Bruno Fernandes have awful games. Why doesn't he name drop him? You know, Luke Shaw has had awful games. Why doesn't he name drop in? Casemiro hasn't always been great. Why don't you name drop him? And it's this favoritism of these players that actually is starting to irk me. As Johnny says, it was funny that he said he won't bench players unless they deserve to be benched, and yet he almost 10 games to bench Diallo. His comments on Diallo isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Bruno will play tonight. How disappointing is that? I do agree with you, Scott. The leadership team he created as well stinks badly. Having Shaw, Bruno, Diallo in the leadership team should scare an academy player. The club should just sell Bruno, whether Amorim likes it or not, and Diallo as well. Johnny Hill. And Johnny, mate, you're right. And I've been saying this on here for the longest time, right? Is that this leadership team stinks. You know, if this is the epitome right now of a leadership team, and again, I'm going to hark back to the past, not because, you know, I'm harking back to the past because that's all I've got. I'm harking back to the past because personalities back then still apply now, and I'm talking about, you know, leadership. I'm talking about, you know, being leaders on the pitch. I'm talking about the way you conduct yourself in and around the club. I'm talking about how you present yourself. I'm talking about how you play. You know, you're there for your teammates. You don't throw your hands up in the air. You know, you are all about the club. You know, you're not about yourself. If you look at this as Johnny says there, Luke Shaw only decides to play when it's a World Cup year. You know, Bruno Fernandes is probably one of the most petulant players I've ever seen. And yes, his stats are good, but Bruno, let's not pretend here. Bruno is a bit of a stat padder, you know. And when we're talking about a stat padder, the prime example is Crystal Palace, right? He gets two assists to add to those stats. But what did he really do for those assists? So you've got Bruno Fernandes, who is on the pitch, who is the front and centre of this club, because he's very, very intrinsic to the club, who is not a United captain. And these young players, you're right, they are looking at these captains or these leadership groups. And you look at Arsenal, right? You look at a Liverpool, you look at a Madrid, you look at a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich. Now, those are proper leaders. You know, those are teams that win things. When you've got Bruno, Luke Shaw, a Diallo, I can't remember like who else is in there. You know, it must be so downhearting to players. You know, when you hop back to the past and you've got the likes of, at one time, and again, it depends on how old you are, right? You've got leaders like Peter Schmeichel. You've got leaders like Paul Parker, Dennis Irwin, Gary Pallister, Steve Bruce, Robson, Keane, Mark Hughes, Brian McClare, Kanchelskis, Lee Sharp, Ryan Giggs, and then you progress forward. You've got York, Cole, Beckham, Scholes, Butt, Neville's. Where are those players now? If this is the leadership, as you said there, Johnny, it is terrifying. And because these players, because these academy players and these players that we bring into this group have no idea what it's like to be led by leaders, they think that this is it. They follow the example, right? And if your standards are low and your example are these players, is there any wonder, the way that, Sancho came into this squad and he behaved in the way that he did? You could argue Rashford came into the squad and the way that he behaved in the way that he did. Garnacho is probably prime example of the way that he behaved when he came into the squad. Malacia, he came into the squad. Anthony came into the squad, and these are all the things that we needed to change. And is there any wonder why these youth players behave in the way that they do? So the fact that we're talking about this, the fact that we're talking about players, you guys are suggesting players, and the fact that we're talking about a Mateta, we're talking about the Bundesliga playing. Now this is where I wanted to switch it up, and I wanted to do this show that I did start to do yesterday. Is let's get on to the terrifying part of this whole show. So yesterday the Athletic come out with United, and we need to bear this in mind that the Athletic are the mouthpiece for this club, right? Could do with, and this is what they said. We could do with strengthening, but don't see the January window as a time to do it. If something came along on the landscape, they could act quickly from understanding it's going to be a loan in and a loan out. How is that not scary? I mean, that absolutely just terrifies me beyond belief. Now, they're being run like a business. Now, could we so this is the statement that was put out there, and it's coming from the club. You know that this is coming from the club. United could do with strengthening, but they don't see the January as time to do it. Where have we heard this before? This is, and I've been saying this, and you guys have been saying this for time and time again. This club is owned by the Glazers. INEOS are puppets for the Glazers. Now, whether you agree with me or not, that is your right to agree with me, disagree with me. But what does that sound like? It sounds like the Glazers. It sounds like there's no value in the market. So what I wanted you guys to do, is really important you guys get your opinions in on this, because I want you guys to suggest players. I want you guys to suggest players who are outside of left field, suggest players who we think that we should go. As fans, we watch this every single game, and we see these players, and we know the players that need to go, irrespective of whether the manager, because at the end of the day, these owners, these managers, these players are just a moment in time. They're a blip on this club, right? The consistent aspect of this club are fans. Okay, this club will endure whatever happens. This club will endure. This club is beyond managers, beyond players, beyond the Glazers, the absolute scourge and scum of this club. We've seen players come and go. I've seen Jap Stam sold, Kanchelskis sold. I've seen Mark Hughes leave, my hero. We've seen Cristiano go, Rooney retire, Beckham leave, Scholes retire, come back and then retire again. Giggsy being in his pomp. Giggsy retiring. We've seen so many different players. Roy Keane going to a different club after falling out. We've seen so many of these players leave that it's probably not a player or the coach. Even though I'm the manager there is not a single player really or coach in this club that I would be sad to see go. Now, this to me is how far that we have fallen as a club, whereby I don't see any member, and I'm going to include the new players in this. As much as I like them, if we decided to be bought out and somebody came in and said, look, we're going to clear out this club, we're going to clear the debt, we are going to clear, the manager, the players, everything that makes this club bad, we're going to purge it, I will be up for it. Can you imagine the time? I come from a time way back when, where the thought of somebody coming in and purging this club of those sorts of players would be a ludicrous thing. How far have we fallen? The fact that, and I don't know what your opinions are on this, but how far have we fallen? And I feel sorry for fans who have never seen that pump. Even thinking about it now, right? Even those of you who were born in the 2000s, those of you who were born in 1999, you've never really seen this club in its heyday. You might have been younger and you might have seen those titles that we've won up until 2013. But imagine people sort of like of the age that I am. We've seen the club go through those eras, and it's not just the titles, it's the players, it's what the club was, it's what it represents, and it's not just the winning, it's the leaders, it is those leaders on the pitch, it's those players who were in pursuit of winning. And I mean, time after time after time, you win a league and you're disappointed the next season you don't win the league. You win a league and you don't think to yourself, oh great, I'm the greatest player in the world. You go and win. It was their job. And we've fallen so much. And let's have a look. Let's have a little look. What we're saying. The club, Grace says the club should just sell Bruno whether Amorim likes it or not. I do agree. Danny says, I said in March, if we build a team around Bruno in an 8, we'll get sacked. He had the perfect opportunity to move him. Agree with you completely. We had to sell Bruno last summer, or what was the point in buying Cunha? We got offered 80 to 100 million for Bruno. We should have snapped that up straight away. And Scott, mate, I said that on here at the time as well. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, just give us a like, favourite, and subscribe. It really does help us out. These two midfielders need to be shutters from side to side. They don't naturally go forward. Amorim was calling Luke Shaw world class too, which made me laugh. Oh, Johnny. Oh, this Luke Shaw shit. It just winds me up. This Luke Shaw stuff. I mean, look, I respect people's opinion on Luke Shaw. No, I don't share it. Johnny, I more so share your opinion. Right? People are going to have their opinions, and this is a channel whereby I'm not going to call you out on your opinions, because that is the right thing to do. You have your opinion. I don't share that. Johnny, it is scary to me. It's scary to me. Amorim was saying that he's got pace, he's got power. He plays for Portugal, and then he went on to say that Luke Shaw is a world-class player. Luke Shaw, a couple of years ago, you could argue potentially entering into that debate for one of the best left-sided centre-backs. no argument from me that season whereby, he was fantastic. He's not that player. It sounds to me like this fan base has been set up for another year of Luke Shaw. This fan base has been set up for yet another season of these players being here. And the reason why I say that, if you're looking at, the Athletic saying that, we could do, and if we look at this, right, let me go to your chats first, and then I'll come on to the point. Grace says, Tevez, our team for next season should be Lemens, De Ligt, Yoro, Martinez, Maz, Baleba, Stiller, Mbeumo, Cunha, Matet, or Shesko, or Semenyo. I'm very close with Anderson, and he's already been tapped up by United to come in January. He won't, if it's going to sign or not. He won't. Fresh says, hi, hello, my friend. Niche fan, legend of the chat. We're not a serious club. No signings in January window is insanity. Victoria says, hello, my friend. Maybe they don't. What does it say? Maybe they don't want to sign anyone to next summer because they want to see where Amorim finishes first. Again, who is the best shirt this year? United, mate. The low shirt says Grace and Mbeumo all day. Who would win out of you versus Lee Gunner in a fight? Me, Fresh. I'm not going to beat around the bush, mate. Me. I'm not going to lie. It would be me. I answered it. It would be me. I want China to buy, says Niche fan. Kelvin, legend of the chat. JB, how are you? Fresh, I'll answer that one as well. We need to sell before buying. The problem is the club has those who need selling or new signings in the main. It's a bad look for the club. Kelvin, I'm doing extremely well, my friend. Fresh says, you, Lee Gunner, Mark, Terry Flowers in a room. Who's going to come out last man standing? Me, Fresh. Don't be fooled. Yeah, I'd come out. Liam says, the issue is Bruno didn't want to move to Saudi. You can't force a player to move to a place he doesn't want to go to while he still has a contract. Saudi could have offered 500 million. It doesn't matter. And Liam, spot on. Liam, as always, my friend, very, very intelligent comments, very, very factual comments as well, Liam. And I will get onto that comment as well because the two things are linked with what I'm about to say. Niche fan says, we get Rashford back, Baleba, Gomez, we've got everything we need. Fresh says, you are my favourite YouTuber now. Thank you, my friend. Fresh says, legend. Mate, look. Thank you so much. Like the one thing I would say about this channel, Fresh, is that you guys are the legends of the channel. I'm just here. I talk. You guys come together, and you fuel the channel. Like, let's be having this right. It's you guys that are the legends. I just sit here and I read your chat. So you guys are the true legends. Kelvin says, is Conor Gallagher worth 30 million? That's a good question. Is he worth that money? I'd probably say he's worth more towards 23 million. So I don't know what that is in dollars. Is that 27 million dollars? 28? I'd probably say he's worth 23 million, whatever that is. I need that shirt. Name your price. £1 million. True, this is the UV are the channels I watch. Very good stuff. Thank you, my friend. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go back to Liam's comment because I think Liam is absolutely spot on because I wanted to link that to what the Athletic said as well, and actually what other things have said. So the last couple of days, I've seen out there where basically people are saying this. Amorim is going to have a clear out. his second one, right? Amorim didn't have the first clear out. And the reason why I say this is because if you think about it, he had the bomb squad. Okay, so Lindelof left on a free, Eriksen left on a free. That's not a clear out. That is, these players have left. He then had the bomb squad. Malacia, Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, and Anthony. Now, you can argue that those players left. When we're talking about a clear out, Garnacho was sold, Anthony was sold. Rashford, Sancho, Malacia, Højlund, even though I'm not classing Højlund as part of that squad, of that the bomb squad, they're all still here. So Amorim, so what clear out did Amorim get? Right? What clear out did Amorim get? Bobby, legend of the chat. What did Amorim get exactly? Amorim got no clear out. So when we're talking about this second clear out, and the reason why, Liam, I will get to the point, mate, is that it's been spoken about how Amorim's going to clear out 10 players, right? The summer's going to come along and he's going to be clearing out these 10 players. Liam is right. You know, you've got these 10 players. So I did a list of players, right? Bruno's got a contract till 2027. What are you going to do? Are you going to force him out? No. Mason Mount. Where's Mason Mount? Where's he going to go? He's got a contract till 2027. Luke Shaw. Where's Luke Shaw going to go? Contract till 2027. Like, who's going to buy? Shaw. Mason Mount, probably the most injured player in the history of injured players at 25 years old. Who's going to buy him? Xerxes, contract 2027. Or, yeah. Højlund, 2028, and he's not guaranteed to go. Ugarte, contract till 2028. He's not guaranteed to go. Malacia is out of contract. Casemiro is out of contract. Maguire is out of contract. Pretty much it. So all this spin. Now Phil Jones was worse. Phil Jones was worse. You know, so all this crap about we're going to have this clear out of 10 players. We've got a club who's more bothered about sacking dinner ladies, who will not give free lunches out to their staff that work there, who are more concerned about the bottom line with, like, why are they going to pay off a Luke Shaw? Because they need to pay off a Luke Shaw because he's not going anywhere. Mason Mount, are they going to get rid of Mount and give away the number 7 shirt? No, they can't afford to take losses. So all this stuff about 10 players going, absolute nonsense. And Liam is so spot on with that comment. You know, if Bruno doesn't want to move to Saudi, we had an opportunity last season to move him out. Bruno dictates where he goes. Luke Shaw dictates where he goes. There is player power at this club. And is it the players' fault? I'll argue no, because these players have been given a contract. And if they want to sit on their contracts, there's nothing that they can do. You'll be on Misfits in 2 years. You smash up the Gold Bridge. I mean, look, Fresh, would you want to see 2 middle-aged men fighting? I probably don't think you would do. You need to switch up. Yeah, so Fresh, yes, I agree with you completely. I do this at the moment just because the views are better, but tonight I'll probably will do a proper landscape. So look, Fresh, it's going to happen, my friend. I do this right now because it's easier for me to do this during the day, but I will absolutely be doing that. So look, it's something that I want to do more of because it does look better, but I do this right now simply purely to get the numbers up. So then let's go back to that, right? So the Athletic says we could do with strengthening, but don't see the January window. If something comes along, then it could be an opportunity to loan in and loan out. I mean, what? And this was said the other day, okay? I know other channels spoke about this, but then today they've jumped back on the wagon of Baleba. They've jumped on the wagon of Anderson. They jumped on the wagon of different things. It's all there. The Athletic I've put it out there. I've been saying all this on this channel for many, many times, is that it's going to be, there's no value in the market. INEOS are a business. The Glazers are a business. And this is what I think absolutely at the moment gets missed. Who is talking about the Glazers? Nobody's talking about the Glazers. We talk about INEOS, and INEOS don't make the signings. I do it as well. The football inside, INEOS. INEOS sign these players. These are not Amorim's players. I've said it myself. These are INEOS players, right? This club is owned. The Glazers are the puppet masters of this club. The Glazers are the ones that pull the purse strings. The Glazers are the ones that still sign off the transfers. INEOS are a mere front for the Glazers. Now, some of you may argue, Zimmerman says Arsenal all of the way. Zimmerman, welcome, my friend. Getting your opinions about Arsenal, getting your opinions about this club. We don't mind rival fans on here as well. Scott says, this is the best video con for the channel, but get more numbers in this kind of stream than the landscape. We do for now. We absolutely do for now. And we can force players out the way we did with Onana. So the difference from Onana and Bruno is that Chelsea is the champ. The only thing, who are you? If that's aimed at me, I am JB. This is the United Devil channel. This is a Man United fan channel. So, feel free to get in your opinions. We don't mind banter, Mark. If that's who are you, as in who am I, or if that's who are you, as in who are you to talk about anything, just clarify that, my friend. So I just think that right now, when we're talking about signings, JB is the wizard of UDC and other realms. Is true. I am the wizard. I am the wizard of the channel. Who will replace Amorim if he gets sacked? Now, Zimmerman. That is a good question, right? As you know, well, you may not know, I do read out your chats. I do respect that opinion. I'm not going to enter into that conversation right now because I'm focusing on this coach. Right now, I just don't have an opinion on it because I don't know who we would get. If, for example, I did have an opinion on it, I would give it to you. If I knew a way forward, and I'm not going to pretend, right? If I had a name that I think that I would get, or I think would be a realistic target, I would give it to you. I genuinely don't know right now. It genuinely would scare me to even suggest a manager because I don't know what INEOS and the Glazers would do. So I promise you, I'm not hiding away from the question. I just don't know because I can't give you a name because I just don't know who could come in with these sets of players really and do something. So I genuinely think that's a good question. I just don't know. Zimmerman says Areola. Look, I think that's a very sensible answer. If you put a gun against me and said like who would I pick, Areola could be the guy. Glasner, could he be the guy? I wasn't impressed with what I saw. Would you take a risk on somebody like a Xavi? I don't know. Would you go and get the Barcelona manager, Alonso? And again, these are not people that I would necessarily sign. I'm just giving you names. But any manager that would come into this club would need their own players. So this is the problem that I've got, and this is the problem that INEOS have got. Is INEOS can't fail on this. The chances are that INEOS will fail on this, but can INEOS really fail on this? So I think it's a fascinating. It's still fascinating to me who people would sign, because I just right now I can't envision beyond the next game, just purely because I have to focus on the next game, because I just don't know. Pete says no one out there to replace him with the same Liverpool by the looks of it. No one Amorim is our main man. He needs time to get a different manager in the same will happen. And Scott, I agree with you, my friend. John McQueen says Amorim won't be sacked. He's there for 3 years. Thoughts on tonight's game? I'll tell you what, John. John, cracker name, by the way. I do love the name John, because I'm JB, so John is a fantastic name. So look, what are my thoughts on the game tonight? So, right. My thoughts on the game are this. We used to be a fortress, right? People would come to Old Trafford and people would fear it. They would lose the game in the tunnel before the game. I actually think teams look forward to coming to our ground now. They look forward to that atmosphere. They look forward to the big crowds. They just look forward to it, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're still a big club. So people want to still come to us. People want to take our scalp. People want to win. West Ham are missing, I believe, 4 first-team players. Paquetá is going to be a massive loss. I've seen West Ham twice this season. I saw them against Chelsea and Arsenal. Now, against Chelsea, they were in the match completely. But what happens to West Ham is that they sort of capitulate a bit. They're not very good at scoring goals. Callum Wilson up front, Fulcrook up front, not the best. Now, we played the last time we played at home, we lost 1-0 to a low block team. West Ham are going to be very, very similar. Everton and West Ham are very, very similar sides. West Ham are going to be organised. They're going to play a mid to low block. Their midfield probably will be better than our double pivot. Wing backs as well, Wan-Bissaka I think is very, very good. So the onus is going to be on us to attack. The onus is going to be on us is can we break them down? West Ham, I don't think we have many chances tonight. So Bowen is always going to be a threat. I think he scored against us the last time we played. He's the danger man. I worry. Like, Amorim has already been schooled by some experienced coaches in this league. Is it going to be the same tonight? I would, in a normal world, expect us to beat West Ham. I think we'll have a lot of the ball. I think we can't drive through the middle of the park. We don't have the midfield. Everything we do is wide. I think that's where we're going to go. I don't know if you're going to keep putting balls into the box because of that low block. I'm hoping with Cunha in the side. I don't know if Mount is injured. I don't know what is going to happen. I think if we play, like a Cunha in Mbeumo, Ahmad as the 10s and the false 9, I actually think we'll get some joy. I think we need to play ball to feet. If we do that, and we have spoken about how West Ham will play, West Ham have got 4 players out, 4 key players out. I'm expecting us to win tonight. I am expecting us to win tonight. We cannot have a performance like we had against Crystal Palace in the first half. We cannot have the same performance as we had at Spurs, Everton, Forest. We got away with some of those games. Everton, we didn't. And more importantly tonight, John, in my view, is this. We've got an opportunity here to go in and get into that top 4, top 5. Will that change the players' attitudes? If we are in the top 4, top 5 by right, it adds a certain mental characteristic, and I'll come on to what Ahmad and Mbeumo said as well, because that was all part of the conversation that I was about to have. So Ahmad basically double tap the screen. Exactly. My big up my pivot pal Dino. It's all about the pivot. I'm just going to say yesterday, 5-a-side, I played in that pivot. I was the disruptor. I was the absolute disruptor yesterday. And we won 15-6. That's all I'm saying. If Amorim wants a 42-year-old middle-aged man, I don't think I would do a worse job than Casemiro. Obviously, I'm kidding, right? But it's true anyway. So look, so it terrifies me. It terrifies me that statement made that INEOS don't feel like that they don't see the January window as a way to strengthen the side. It's a no value in the market rhetoric again. There's a no value in the market. It's a Glazer again, and I've been saying this, that the only thing I think we'll do, and I will celebrate, I will happily take the L on this one if INEOS do something different. If INEOS decide to sign a Baleba, go and get an Anderson, I will happily be wrong, and feel free to come back at me and say you were wrong. INEOS are serious about this club, and I will happily take that. I'll happily take the L, because it means that I'm wrong, you guys are right. INEOS are cooking. INEOS and the Glazers are going to do something with this team. They value this team now. They're going to invest in this team. They're not going to. Mark these words. INEOS will get a Gallagher in. Whether they loan him, whether they buy him for 23 million quid. I think we're only going to do a single deal. I think we'll only do either a loan or a buy deal. This whole, we could do stuff. We could buy players. I guarantee you, when we get to the end, when we get to about New Year's Eve, that is when they'll start going, we're going to buy these players. Anderson might come in. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We lost, and this misses so many people. We lost. We made a loss of £36 million. We have a headroom of £105 million. That means we've got about 74 million, 71 million pounds to play with. INEOS are a business, and this is when we're talking about the Glazers and INEOS, particularly INEOS, you need to distinguish between a football club and a business. INEOS are about the business. Business people don't care about football. They don't care about whether we need players or not. It's all about the balance sheet. It's all about the bottom line. All they see is the bottom line. They're not bothered about what this club needs. All they see is the value in the market, which they always say. I guarantee you, other teams will strengthen where they need to strengthen. We need to cut through the spin. INEOS are a business. They run this club like a business. And I know with this headroom that we've got, INEOS are going to want to leave something in that kitty. Because what happens if Amorim loses the next 8 games? What happens if Amorim loses the next 10 games? As much as I would still give him time, INEOS are going to say we're going to give him the next 3 years. INEOS will not give him that. You look at what they've done historically at Nice. They will not give him that time. So they are leaving themselves headroom. Also, one of the factors that I don't think we talk about enough. So, dividends. Glazers have not taken the dividends for a couple of years. The money that we've made by saving, by Garnacho, right? I did a video on this as the Garnacho money was in. There's loan fee for Højlund, the wages that we saved, Rashford's wages that we saved, the loan fee for Anthony's sale, Anthony's pay, Rashford's pay. Where has that money gone? That money should be there. Where has that gone? Mubarak Hassan says hello. Says sack the board. Say hi. I would love to. I would absolutely love to sack this board. Where were you playing? I'm guessing goals. Ruislip, you have the London outskirt accent. I was playing in Essex, in Basildon, and I was playing five-a-side. Fresh. You've got a very, very, your ear is very, very good. Yes, I was playing in Essex, and yeah, we did well last night. I mean, I've not played five-a-side for about 13 years. I've not played football in about I've not played football in about 10 years, right? But to caveat that with, I do run a lot. We did win. We won 16-6, or no, I think it was 15-6. So we won 15-6 in the end. So not bad for a bunch of old blokes. So the only thing I'm going to say is, look, I do run a lot. I am reasonably fit. I go to the gym. I do run a lot. Were we playing kids? I could lie. No. We were playing. It's like a 30s league. So it was like between 30 and 50. My side were a little bit older, probably on that 38 to about 50. A team that we played were mostly between 30 and about 35. And trust me, when you get to about 40, it's a different sort of playing style, right? But yeah, we I mean, if we played against kids, we'd get absolutely run off the park, right? But no, we won. You never lose it, to be fair. The one thing I will say is that I've always been fit. So I've always been able to run around, right? I've always been quick. I've got the first touch of a. It's not. I don't have a very, very good first touch, but I'm very, very good at moving around the pitch. Very, very good at shooting, but my first touch is awful. So I try not to. I'm not a playmaker. I think these days I'm more of a disruptor. I'm more of a Makalele type. I'm more of a chase people around, try and disrupt the play, get the ball back, and just let people play in it. So first game back in 13 years, winner. No, just a bunch of middle-aged men, trying to relive their youth. Have you ever played walking football? It's so hard when you can't run. Bobby, I'd be awful at that. I'd be absolutely terrible. My natural instinct is to run. I'd be awful. I would be terrible at it. I'd be absolutely disgraceful. You never know. I might give it a go one day. Just give it a go. So look, Glazers. So I want to know if we're going to sign. I want to know if we're going to sign. Look, I want you to tell me. You guys tell me. Do you think we're going to sign players? Okay, I think it's really important for you guys to tell me that. Are we going to sign players? Who are we going to sign? Who are the realistic signings that we could make? And I'll give you my view. I have already given you my view as I think we're going to sign a lone player. This is what I would like to see. The realistic targets that I think that we can sign. So I think we need a midfielder, at least one midfield player. This is what I think we need. If we could get 2, I think that would be fantastic. Yeah, definitely give it a go. I also want to play. Is it pickleball or whatever it's called? You know that's like tennis, but it's not quite tennis. Is it called pickleball? I would give that a go. So I would like to know who you think we can sign. What's a realistic target, right? I'll give you my realistic targets that I think that we should probably go for, and then you give me your opinions on what you actually think that we can get. So are you of that camp that INEOS are going to go, right, we're going to go out and we're going to sign some players? Bobby says we need to sign 2 players. CM is for sure. I'd argue 2. I would probably argue at least, I'd argue 3. I think we need an experienced striker. I think we need a centre midfielder. I think you could argue 2. And I think we need a wing back as well. So if I'm talking about realistic targets, I think that Gallagher, whether I want him or not, I'm talking about realistic targets. Gomez for Wolves is probably one I would look at as well. I know people would turn up their nose because we know we're talking about like an Anderson. I think Anderson, we need to forget about that. Anderson, unless we finish in the top 2, top 4, Anderson, forget about it. I think Anderson is one of those players that, depending on where you finish, is probably where you're going to go. Very much like a Gyökeres, right? So Gyökeres depended on if we got to the Champions League, if we'd have won that Spurs game, we probably would have gone out to get him, and we probably would have been here. Blessing in disguise in some respects, because I think Šeško's injured. I really, really like Šeško. I think Šeško is going to be good. So for me, Gallagher or a Gomez, for me, those 2 I think are the most realistic targets for me. Centre back, wing back wise, I don't know. And Neves as well. I know that has been mentioned as well as a centre midfielder. I think that would be a good signing. Tony has been mentioned quite a bit as well. I don't think he's going to come. I just think we need another experienced striker to come in and take the load off of Šeško. I've got a feeling that, INEOS are going to want us to limp over the finish. I'm going to categorically say this now. Unless we sign players, unless we sign 2, I think 2, we finish outside of that top 4. And then INEOS then have to take the blame for that. You can't blame Amorim for that. You can't, as much as I don't like these players, in some respects, if these players need a couple of players in there, they're doing their best. These are the players that we've got. This is the squad that we've got, and they're very limited in my view. What are they supposed to do? What are Amorim and these players supposed to do? They are together, whether or not we think they're good or bad, whether you are INEOS or Amorim in or out. If these are the two components of this side and they don't gel, what is he supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? I like two says, what about getting Angel Gomez back? He looked good when playing for England. Mapuli says hi. Angel Gomez is one of those players whereby I think a couple of years ago, I think if it was last season, because there's talk of him being free, right? There was talk of him being signed on a free. When you're talking about squad depth and you look at our squad depth, tonight our squad depth is going to be atrocious. If Bruno is out, if we've got any more injuries, when the AFCON comes about, our squad depth is going to be atrocious. If, for example, we could have got him on a free for squad depth, yes. But if we're looking to progress as a club and we're looking to finish in the Champions League, and people are talking about winning the league, people are talking about trying to challenge the titles. The question that I would ask back to you is, if we're thinking about that as fans, and this is what INEOS are going to try to push out there, right? And my answer back to you is Angel Gomez, would you sign him to win a league? Would you sign him to be part of a title-winning squad? And that's what I ask myself now when I look at players. Are we just looking? Are we harking back to the past? And look, I think as a question, I think is a very very good question. But does Gomez get into that England side now? I don't think he does he? So for me, it's a case of, are these players that we're going to sign now? What are the mentality of these players? Are these the guys that are going to win us the league? Are these the guys that are going to push us up into the top four, top six? And again, would I sign him for that squad depth? Possibly, but why would I sign him when we're buying all these players? Orozco is apparently the next big thing. Kone, Leon, as already been mentioned here, Leon is going to go out on loan. That has been confirmed by Fabrizio. Leon is going to go on loan to Lille. And we're signing these youth players. We're signing these young players. And as much as I don't disagree with that, why are we looking back to the past? If we're signing all these latest young players, why not bring them into the squad? Why not bring those guys in and give those guys a chance? So we are signing these players. What's the point? What's the point of signing these players? Like Heaven. We brought Heaven in. Heaven looked brilliant. Heaven looked really, really good. But is Heaven now going to end up being one of those players, like I'm just trying to think of those sort of defenders that we had, like a Paddy McNair. Was he going to end up like a Blackett? Is he going to end up like who is that young guy who played in the PSG win? I can't. Was he Dutch? That young kid. And is Heaven going to end up like that? We bought him for £1 million. You could easily sell Heaven for what? 10 million, maybe 8. We bought him for 1. You sell him for 8. And I think this is the strategy of INEOS now, is to be this Chelsea. Is to be this. We sign a bunch of players, and they end up on loan. Scott says, is it 8 p.m. kickoff tonight? Yes, it is. It's 8 p.m. I will be doing I've started the watch along about 7:45 as well tonight. So if you can join me for that, that would be fantastic tonight. So I think those comments are I think it's an interesting comment. I really do. Are there okay? Next question is: are there players that have gone out that you would? Scott is a legend. Are there players that we've sold that you would bring back? I mean, I think the conversation of those players for me would be Alanga. Would you bring Alanga back? The most obvious one for me, there are two most obvious players that you could argue that you'd bring back. You'd bring Alvaro back. I think that the fact that we let Alvaro go, I think, is a travesty. So Alvaro, you can argue that one. Scott McTominay, you can argue that one as well. So, I think as a club, and again, we'll go back to INEOS. It's a constant failure of this club when it comes to the signing of players. So for me, I'm of this opinion now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I want you guys to be as positive as we can. Is that I think we're going to do what we've always done. There's going to be no value in the market. We might get a loan player in. I want to be wrong. I want to see this club I want to see this club do well. I want INEOS to be different than the Glazers. I want to see INEOS be brave. And if INEOS are brave, I will hold my hands up. And I will say, look, they're doing something different. Mitch says, United guy, AC Milan also have a match today. What are your predictions? I'm going to go with an AC Milan win, my friend. I'm going to go with an AC Milan win. I think they win tonight, Mitch. And I think they're going to win just for you, my friend. I am aboard the AC Milan train, right? You're never going to catch me wearing an AC Milan top on this stream, unlike some other channels who let their presenters wear whatever the fuck they like. I think, look, AC Milan for me, look, they're an historic club, right? I want to see clubs like AC Milan, United, back in the mix, back at the top of their leagues, fighting again, being rivals. And I absolutely want AC Milan to win tonight. If AC Milan were to win the league, fantastic. I don't support them, but I value the history of them. So look, mate, I hope AC Milan for you, my friend, go all of the way tonight. So get on stream if they win, because they'll probably be playing later on, right? Because you're like an hour ahead. AC Milan are like an hour ahead of us. So I really, really do hope they do extremely, extremely well tonight. So Bobby says Milan are crap. Come on, Bobby. Let's support Mitch tonight. Let's support him tonight. Come on. Let's give him some hope tonight, right? And history, AC Milan also AC Milan. I will let you guys argue that out in the chat. Yeah. So tonight's game, before we vacate the premises now. United tonight. I'm now agnostic to these players. So what I mean is, I'm not going to go in on these players now. Tonight is a must win. I want to see tonight. And again, I say this: we won. Crystal Palace, doesn't matter what I think and how we won. Doesn't matter. You look back. You look back now. Nobody's going to remember how we played. I do. I do, for argument's sake. because I don't forget, but history will just tell you that we won the game. Nobody's going to remember who played well, who didn't play well. Serious soccer fans says, hi, no Jan signings will be the difference between securing Thursday night football or not securing any European football. I think you're spot on, my friend. I think you are spot on. I worry. My worry right here and now is that I don't think INEOS fully understand. And as I said in the last stream, I should tell you for why I think signings are important. And I'll just reiterate tonight. Dino says 2-0 tonight. Positive vibes, please. Dino, I'm not going to give you a score. I'm going to leave you guys with the positivity tonight. You know, you guys are mostly right on these sorts of things as well. I am a bit of a miserable old git at times, so I will leave you guys with positivity, and hopefully that will feed off on me. I said this, and I'm going to say this again. What INEOS are not doing is they're not thinking, and the Glazers as well, they're not thinking in terms of football, right? If you want to finish fourth, and you know this season is ridiculously competitive, which it is, you look at Chelsea last night. Chelsea got spanked against Leeds. They got absolutely annihilated, right? They got absolutely spanked. They went and beat a Barcelona team, right? Everyone was saying they're cooking. You know, that it's so inconsistent that Leeds are beating a Chelsea 4-1, an informed team, right? Liverpool, Sunderland, I think it was, drew. It's all there for us tonight, right? We have to sign players. If we sign players and it gets us third or fourth, right? This is the reason why it's so important. If you went and got a Belabor or another player, two players, say they were valued at 60 and 40 million, you're not paying that up front. So let's just say you do those deals over 4 years, right? So you're paying £15 million a year, and you pay that now, and then you're paying 10 mil. So what's that going to cost you? 25 million quid a year, right? If you're in the Champions League consistency, that's £100 million just to get into the Champions League. And we're not talking about home games. We're just talking about the money that you get, right? And if we're in it for 4 years, that's £400 million. But let's just say for the season. So it's cost you of that £100 million. Say it's cost you 30 million. So you're down to £70 million, right? So that's more than you sort of had before. It means that you then attract players. It means you can attract better players. It means you have more home games. It means that with a better squad, you can go further in the Carabao Cup. You can go further in the FA Cup, which means you have more home games. It means you again, your players that you've got will get more playing time. So just by signing, potentially here, just by spending 30 to 40 million pounds in this window, and you can stretch those things out, you could earn probably anywhere between 170 to 200 million pounds. And we're not just talking here about physical money from home games. We're talking about social media. Now, people are going to be talking about us more. People are going to be watching the club more, so you're going to get millions of pounds from that as well. Sponsorship deals, you're going to see your income probably increase by after expenses, because of course you're going to need to sign more players. You're going to need to increase the wages of the players here, but you're going to see £100 million to £150 million profit after you sign players, after you've increased the wages. And because of these home games, and because you're getting deeper and deeper into the competitions, there's more revenue, more sponsorship. There's more, better players. The better players that you have, you can sustain the Champions League. You'll get into the Champions League year after year, and this is why it baffles me. They say there's no value in the market, but the value is there. The value is not just about monetary spending on players. The monetary value is in 4, 5, 6 years when you're in the Champions League. The better players that you get, the more chance you've got. The higher up the league you finish, the more money you get. And we all know the Glazers and INEOS love money. They love money, they love cash, but they want it at the least spend as possible. They think that they can, spend as little money as they possibly can and still earn hundreds of millions of pounds. And look, this is what this show is about. This is about INEOS, the Glazers. How, if they want to, and look, it's been put out there, according to the Athletic, we could do with strengthening, but they don't see the January window as the time to do business. I mean, if you want to finish fourth, we've got the AFCON coming up, and that's not including injuries. We've got a threadbare squad. Amorim doesn't like to play the youth. We could, in effect, potentially Mason Mount. Mason Mount is always injured. Bruno Fernandes, how long until he really, really gets injured? Mbeumo's going to go to the AFCON. Mazraoui's going to go to the AFCON. Ahmad is going to go to the AFCON. Maguire can't really stay fit. Cunha, is he is he going to start picking up more injuries as well? Šeško, Šeško's had an injury already. When is he back? Is Casemiro going to last the whole season? Luke Shaw, is he? So these are 10 players here that, what are we going to do? If you bring in at least another 2 players, at least it covers you for the time the players get back. I'd argue 3. So I'm just hoping that INEOS don't do what I think that they're going to do. Palace edit, say hi JB. Palace, legend of the chat, my friend. Michael says, had to mute while I did a work call. What did I miss? Thanks, buddy. And look, we are talking primarily on this show today about how INEOS, what they should do, the Glazers. This is going to be a Glazer window as far as I'm concerned, guys. And the reason why I really want you guys to put in your opinion on players is because you guys know more, in my view. You know more than me. You know more than some of the scouts at this club. It was a great win for Palace last night. So, fantastic. You guys know more, right? You suggesting these players, and if INEOS don't go and do anything about this, and you guys have suggested players, and we talk about these players, and these players go elsewhere, and these players do fantastically well, we all know. We all know what this club is about. So look, that is where we are. So look, guys, that was a bit of a bonus extra show because I didn't do one. This was the show I was supposed to do yesterday. I didn't do it because YouTube was being absolutely a pain in the backside last night. Michael says, if I see Cunha in tonight's lineup, I'll be excited. I hope so, Michael. I really hope so. So I'm looking forward to that. So look, I will be back tonight. I'm going to do a watch along tonight, and then I'm going to do a match reaction. I've already set that up. You might have seen that, but I can't do the thumbnail because I don't know what's going to happen. So look, I will be back this evening. I'll be back at 7:45, just before the kickoff tonight. And if you can join me, get in your opinions, we can watch together, celebrate together, commiserate together, and do all that fantastic stuff. So look, guys, thank you for watching. This community gets bigger and bigger and bigger all of the time. You guys are fantastic. You really do make this channel what it is. Without you guys, this channel doesn't exist. Sully says, all depends. Cunha can't play 9 out of position and holds the ball too long, but great ability, just needs to play well. And Sully, look, mate, spot on. We need these players to turn up tonight. So I'm going to say this now. I'm going into match mode. I'm going to predict the win. I'm gonna predict the win. I'm gonna put myself on the spot. You guys do the same. You guys, put your opinions on this. I think it's only fair that I do the same as well. I think we win tonight. I don't think West Ham are going to have enough. I think we win. I'm hoping that Amorim learns a lot from the Everton game. We are at home. Bobby says 3-0. I'm going to go for a pragmatic 2-0. I'm going to go for a pragmatic, not going to be an easy game. Bobby, mate, I hope that it's a comfortable win. I'm more concerned about the performances. We can always win if we turn. And Sully, mate, if you've been here before, I'm unconvinced. I keep saying this about this team. I don't trust this team. It could be anything tonight. We could lose 2-0. We could win 4-0 tonight. As you say, Sully, all that matters is what team turns up tonight. And let's hope tonight the team that turns up knows what is at stake tonight. And what is at stake tonight is pride. Pride because you owe us fans and you owe us a win at home. Pride for yourselves, and let's get ourselves up in the league. Let us get up there. So it says, same. I don't trust the players, including Mbeumo, Cunha. Sully, mate, I am with you, my friend. I don't like these players, and it's not going to change. There are a few players in this side, like the Cunhas, etc., that I've got time for because at least they try. I don't like these players. I don't trust these players. I am Amorim in. I don't trust him either. So look, we're gonna see tonight. So I will be back at 7:45 tonight. Watch along tonight. Let's see what happens. Let's see, as Sally says, will these players turn up tonight? We're gonna find out. So guys, I will be back tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, JB, this is the United Devil channel. Sully, we are on the same page, my friend. Legend, my friend. I hope you can come back tonight. And yeah, I will be back this evening. Come on, United. We need a win. I don't care how we do it tonight. Let's get a win. So guys, I will be back this evening. You guys are legends, and I'll see you tonight very, very soon. Take care, guys.